AITA for kicking my roommate's not girlfriend out? Around the same time we were in the process of moving in, let's call him Mason, M24, started hanging out with this girl, Abby, F23. She is cool and I, F25, like her as a friend, but I am wary around her since she doesn't want a boyfriend, and Mason is the boyfriend type, but none of my business. The problem is, whenever I wake up, she is here. Whenever I sleep, she is here. Whenever I get back from work, she is here. I pointed this out to Mason, he said he would handle it. I told him, utilities are not included, if they come high I am not paying 50%. He said it's okay. Fast forward to today, first utility bill. Surprise! It is high. I asked the receptionist if she has seen this utility bill for 2 people, she says it's more common for 3 or 4 people. I go upstairs and guess who is there? Not Mason. I tell Abby how the bill is high for 2 people and considering she has been here every day, we are splitting it 3 ways. She says no, she doesn't live here, to talk to Mason. And I explode. I tell her, you have been here every fucking morning, day, night. You are here more than Mason. You are freeloading and you are not even his girlfriend. Get the fuck out and don't come back unless you start paying rent. And take all your fucking clothes you have everywhere. Mason later sits me down and talks about how inappropriate that was and he was going to pay for 75% of the bill from the start. I tell him, I pay rent. This is my apartment too. She is not living here for free, I don't care if you cover for her. He says I am being unreasonable, that I am still paying what's fair. I say I don't care. AITA? DLDR, roommate's not girlfriend has been freeloading in our new apartment, utility bill came high, I demanded she pay her share, she refused. Kicked her out. Roommate said he would cover for her, but I don't care, I do not want her living here for free. AITA? Edit, I want to clarify something. Mason and I are completely platonic. Friends for 8+ years, nothing has ever happened between us and there's no attraction there. I have my own thing going on. AITA for telling my friend, 32M, he's out of line for refusing to go to our mutual friend's wedding? So a good friend of mine, let's call him Josh, and I, 29F, are part of a group of friends. We are all invited to a wedding of one of our close friends Dan, 31M. Dan has been in a relationship with his soon-to-be wife Katie, 30F, for almost 10 years. In the second year of their relationship, she had an affair, it came out, they broke up and Dan was distraught. Nearly 8 years later, after a ton of therapy, tears and talking, they are very happy together and are excited to taking the next step. Josh was critical of Katie for a while, but he's great friends with Dan and has always been civil and courteous to her. Now that the wedding invites have been sent out, he's suddenly told us he has RSVP'd no. He said he can't stand there and watch 2 people get married when he knows one of them does not respect the sanctity of fully committing to one person. He is a firm believer in once a cheater always a cheater and says watching Katie getting married goes against his morals and he has to be true to himself. The others are shocked but have accepted his reasoning, but Dan is very upset. I called Josh and told him he was completely out of line and acting very selfish and that it was not the bride's job to ensure everyone approves of all of her actions in life. I asked him to please reconsider and that it would mean the world to Dan to have him there. Now Josh is also pissed at me for not having his back. I am a bit worried if AITA for not respecting Josh's morals and getting involved. Edit, thanks a lot for the reflected feedback, especially the comments calling me out on MUB. Appreciate the reality check. Just wanted to clarify that what compelled me to get involved was because Josh wrote this to us in our WhatsApp group chat with 10 people, which includes Dan. I still stand by my opinion that this action was uncalled for. AITA for taking my future wife's last name? My fiancée Nicole 25F and I 24M are engaged and are getting married this October. She has a very interesting Nordic last name, and she was clear from the get-go that she wants to keep her last name. She has a very close, special bond with her parents, and she is one of the last in her family to have her last name. There is only one man in her family with the last name and he is proudly child-free. I have a rocky relationship with my parents. I don't want to say anything bad about them because I love them to death, but things have not always been good. Since I started dating Nicole, I saw her relationship with her parents and she encouraged me to spend more time with mine. So, it has improved within the past few years because I see them frequently and keep them updated with my life. I am the last male with my last name. My fiancée is the last childbearing age person with her last name. We aren't planning on kids right now, but it's the fact that we are both the last to possibly pass the name along. I decided, because I felt it was important that we shared a last name, that I would take her last name. She and her family were surprised and honored and told me they would support my decisions no matter what. My parents found out that I was changing my last name in an inopportune way prior to me sitting them down to talk about it. It did not go over well and my dad refused to speak to me for a week. My mom would send incoherent texts begging and pleading me to not change my last name, saying things like, in our culture, men keep their last names. You can't just change your last name, and that it was disrespectful and I had forsaken my family, and that I was destroying the family by changing my last name. She also said that her future grandkids deserve the name my German last name. This is just so wrong. Please. Please. Please don't do it. There are many vitriolic, sexist, and unhinged texts, but those are just a few examples of things she said. My dad and her refused to understand that I am a grown adult and they are now essentially disowning me and inviting me from any family events in the future, like my sister's graduation party or a family trip that is already planned and paid for. For context, I am a white American man, so the culture she is referring to is white American culture, I think. So, am I the asshole for taking my fiancée's last name? Edited to add, her last name is 14 letters and my current one is 8 letters, so hyphenating is not an option. AITA for using the treadmill in the middle instead of the ones on the side? So, my apartment community has a decent-sized gym with standard equipment, including 3 treadmills. I only ever go to the gym to do my cardio, and so I have used all 3 of the treadmills. The treadmills are off to the side of the gym in their own area facing windows. They are all 3 different brands and function a bit differently. The one on the far left is visibly old and just not as nice to use. The one on the right is fine but a little confusing to use with a lot of extra buttons that I still don't know what they do. The one in the middle is my favorite one. It's easy to use and it's new. So, whenever I go to the gym I always use the middle one if it's open. Side note, it's almost always open, there's rarely people in the gym at the same time. Well, I was just on the treadmill and halfway through my workout, when 2 girls come in. My headphones are in and I barely notice them at first, but in my peripherals and reflection on the window I see them just hovering by me. Like I said, the treadmill area is off to the side and separated from the rest of the gym, so this is odd. I turn to look at one of them and she immediately turns to act like she wasn't staring. The other one looks like she's scoffing or huffing at me. My earbuds are in, I can't hear. I take my earbuds out and just say hi and they flatly respond hi and then leave the gym entirely. Weird, but whatever, I resume. About half an hour later I'm done and walk down the stairs through the pool clubhouse which the gym is on top of. The girls are there sitting, they see me and get up and go towards the door to the stairs to the gym. I just nod at them as we cross paths when one of them goes, "If you're working out by yourself you should really use the treadmills off to the side," and I just respond by saying huh? And they both go on to say I was hogging the treadmills and preventing people, them, from using the treadmills together. That it's inconsiderate to choose the one in the middle because what if people want to be next to each other? I'm just tired and sweaty and have no energy to argue, so I just kind of laugh and say okay. I told my sister about this and she said she understands where they're coming from and that if all 3 were open when I got to the gym I should have chose one on the side. I think that's stupid and I should be able to choose whichever one I want, but maybe I'm wrong? I'd gym etiquette soda? AITA for threatening eviction to my girlfriend's father. I recently inherited an apartment complex from a deceased family member. In one of the 2 buildings, small world, is my girlfriend's father. In his apartment is a severe hoarding condition. I noticed this when I went door to door to meet with each tenant to inform them of new ownership/management. I knocked on the door, and the door can only open halfway. The stench is terrible, of cat pee/SS and etc., clothes and garbage from floor to ceiling, and the only organized room was the bedroom. I was shocked. I told him that I am giving him 30 days to clean or he will be evicted. He said, "Well, I'm your girlfriend's dad, you can't do that to me. I won't have anywhere to live." He has 6 cats, no idea how they are even alive, there's black mold in the closet and I spotted about 6 cockroaches. I told him that I will order a dumpster for next weekend. If compliance is not met, I will have him legally evicted as he poses a huge hazardous threat to everyone in the building. My GF is begging me to let him stay, but I am not wasting time and any more funds on him, or giving any special treatment. I also told him that if he is able to stay after the 30 days, I am giving him 30 days to get rid of the cats, as I will not be allowing them on my properties. This has created so much tension between me and him and my GF and I because she wants him to live the way he has been. AITA,